Okay, we have to make our program generic, okay, so that it can be used to read add any two numbers. Okay, it can be used to record any two or it can be used to add any two numbers, isn't it? So instead of giving n1 and n2 inside this function, you say, okay, pass me n1 and n2. So when you, okay, n2. So when you write n1 and n2 here, along with define, okay, when you write it here, that means I'm saying pass those two values, okay, to the function. So here I can pass val1 and val2. Okay, so I'm calling this, okay, now see, here if I don't pass and when I try to run, what happens? It says calc gross pay missing two required positional arguments n1 and n2. I'll talk about these two in some time. So what it says is I'm expecting n1 and n2. You give me n1 n2 value. You are not giving me. Okay, you are not giving me. I'm expecting two values. You are not giving me, right? So this is how you can add, or you can write a function which input or which takes input from calling function. This is defined function or called function, and this is where we're calling the function, right? So while calling the function, you need to pass the value. Okay, so I'm going to say val1 and val2. Val1, comma, val2. Okay, now you see, now when I run it, okay, we are passing 1 and 2. Now we don't have to touch the function. When I say, generic means you should not touch the function because functions can be used by multiple people, multiple places. If you make any change in the function, all the other program that is using that function will not work. Okay, so you should not touch any, if the function is already written, of course there is an error, you need to fix it. But just because you have a different requirement, you should not go and change it because you never know which all places that function is being used, isn't it? So in this case, okay, I'm passing the value. It is called passing the value. We are passing the value to cal gross pay. Now I can change it. I can call it again. I can call it again. This time I'll say 10 and I will say 50, right? So now when you run it, it says 60, right? So where n1 and n2 becomes 10 and 50. So this is called passing the value to the function. Second concept, okay, so this is function passing the value. Now I'm talking about return from the function. Function returns the output. Now you see, I don't want to print in this way. It is just printing the value 60. I don't want to print this way. I may use this value for some other calculation. I don't want to print this way, right? I might use this to give input to some other piece of code. I don't want to print at all. Or I want to print this with temperature, pressure, amount, because adding two numbers can be done for anything, right? You can add marks of two students, you can add salaries of two people, you can add anything, right? So that's why when you say here, instead of saying print total, you return the value here. So see, we have seen a function without input parameter and without return. The first time that we wrote gross pay, cal gross pay, did not take any input and did not return any value. So your function can be without any input parameter and without any return value. Second time, your function, you can have a function which takes only input parameter, no return value. You can have a function which takes no parameter but has return value. And fourth type is where it has both input as well as return. So there's no linkage between return and input. Okay, if you want, you can give input. If you don't want, you don't have to give it. You want to return something, it will return something. If you don't want to return, it will not return something. So your function can take input value from the calling function and it can return the value to the calling function. So here I can say, okay, ret value or something. Okay, I can say result or whatever, right? Now I can say here, print value returned from the function is, and you say ret value, right? I'm calling. So this is returning, and I'm saving this value. Now when you run it, so you see here, value returned from the function is 250, and here you are not printing result, so there's nothing here. I can call this, and I can say, because in this function you are capturing the value using result value, right? We are using result variable to read that value. Now when you run it, you see value returned from the function is 60, right? So this is how you can write out your different function which takes value and which returns value. Okay, so now we will go back to our example. Okay, I'll put it here. Where did I put our program? Here, right? I'll call this as practice. Okay, it says update the program such that program uses UDF function to calculating gross pay. Function takes basic pay, DA percentage, HRA percentage. Okay, so we will copy this. No, we'll copy this one, right? Or you can copy this one, anything is fine. But it says change, right? So let's change here itself. So I'm taking it back to our program here. And I'm going to delete this part. Okay, so I'm calling it as gross pay here. And it takes 3 parameters: your basic pay, your DA, and your HRA, correct? Now, so 3 parameters we have to pass. So when you call this gross pay, okay, when you call this gross pay, okay, so I'm going to say result equal to, gross pay, right? And your gross pay for this month is result, because result will give the value. Now you see, okay, here we have to write the logic for calculation. What is the logic for calculation? This is the logic for calculation, right? Logic for calculation is HRA, you divide HRA by 100, DA, you divide DA by 100, okay, gross pay, and you return gross pay. This is the logic. So you are giving, this gross pay, the BP is basic pay, right? So basic pay is BP. So this is a function where you are entering 3 values, BP, DA, HRA, and you are saying HRA equal to HRA by 100, DA equal to DA by 100, and gross pay is BP plus in BP into DA plus BP into HRA. Okay, so this is a function which takes 3 arguments, 3 parameters, 3 arguments, 3 values, and it returns after doing the calculation. So when you call this gross pay, you have to pass 3 values to gross pay, okay, and in the same order: first basic pay, then DA, then HRA. Okay, otherwise your calculation will go wrong. Okay, so here I'm saying enter basic pay, enter dearness allowance. I'm not doing this because this I've moved it in the UDF. So I'm writing 3 input to read the value. Okay, and you don't have to perform this. This is being done in the function. So see, I'm calling input, reading these values, and now I'm going to pass these values to this function. So basic pay I'm passing first. So basic pay goes into BP. Now I'm saying DA. So DA goes into DA. Now I'm saying HRA. So HRA goes into HRA. Okay. Now when you run it, P1, enter your basic pay. See, this is getting called. This is not called. Until we call it, this will not get executed. So let's say I enter basic pay as 100K. Okay, DA percentage 40, HRA percentage 10. So these values, when we enter, now it goes into this function. I'm calling in line number 16. So 16 after, so the first line to get executed you saw was 12, right? 12, 13, 14 got executed. After 14, it went to 16. 16 says function. So from 16, it goes to line number 5. And it takes those three values in the same order that we gave here. So it takes three values, calculates all these, and return your gross pay. And gross pay is returned here. So result has that value. And now I'm printing result here. So see, you got the output. So this is how you can convert that program into function. So now the task for you, all of you, is that all the programs that we have done using loops and conditions, convert them into functions. Okay, try to write functions. Same problem. Okay, same problem, but in the main. So this is called main program. Okay, when you write this program, okay, from the first position, we call this as main program. So that's why always the first line will be called from the main program, not from the function. But main program we can call a function. Function can call another function. Function can call another function. Another function can call another function. So function can call functions, but your main program will only call functions for the first time. Okay, so the first execution of function will happen from main only, because your main code will only run. And if you are calling a function from main program, only then the function will be called. Is it clear? Okay. Now, since we're talking about functions, let's understand few terms here. We saw required, positional, arguments, it said. So what is required and what is positional? Required means it takes three parameters, isn't it? So you have to give three values. Not less, not more. I cannot give more. Let's say I give 100 here. I cannot give more. Okay. Okay. So see, the first three line will be called, and then you get error. Okay. Gross pay takes three positional arguments, but four were given. So that's called required. Required is three. So you have to give only three, not more, not less. I can't delete one. Okay. So that is called required. Required means how many parameters are required? Three parameters are required. So you have to give three parameters. Positional means in the same position. Okay. Which means BP will take your first value, which is basic pay. DA will take DA. HRA will take HRA. Okay. Basic will take basic. The leftmost will take leftmost value. Second variable in the argument will take the second value. Third argument will take the third value. So this is what we call it as, okay, passing parameters to the function gross pay. Okay, that is called required, means you have to give, and then positional. Okay, positional means you have to give in same position, right? If I give basic pay in third position, your calculation will go wrong, isn't it? Okay, so this is called required positional. Then what is opposite of required? Can I make it non-required? It is called default. Okay. Okay, I'm just writing non-required to tell you that default is non-required. So let's say this HRA, okay, is 99.99%, it is 10%. So you say HRA equal to 10 here. Now, when you say HRA equal to 10, that means I'm saying take the HRA value, default value of HRA is 10. Default value of HRA is 10. Now, if I don't give HRA, it will not throw error now. Earlier, it was expecting three values. When I say equal to 10, now it says, okay, if you give HRA, I will take whatever you give. But if you don't give, I'll take 10. Okay. So now if I run this program, and if I say basic pay as 100K, right? Dual allowance I say 40. Now rent allowance, I say 50%. But what happens? It still give you 150. It has taken 10% only, because I'm reading 50, but I'm not passing 50. So when I don't pass here, it takes 10. Okay. But if you pass here, it will take what you pass. So this is called default argument. because it has a default value. It is not must. If you give, it will take what you give. If you don't give, it will take default value of 10. Now when I pass HRA here, okay, now if I pass HRA here, okay, let's do twice. So I'm going to copy this and I'm saying here I'm not going to pass. Say you gross pay with default DA. DA HRA, right? Default HRA. Okay, your gross pay with default HRA is this, and your gross pay for this month is, so here I'm passing HRA. Now when you run it, and if I give 100K here, okay, dearness allowance 40%, and house rent allowance I give 50%. So you see, the gross pay with new HRA is 190K. Okay, but your gross pay with HRA, default HRA is 150 because we have taken 10%. So this is how you can make non-required. Now, non-positional. Now, see, in this case, okay, as a user, I have to remember, oh, first basic pay, first basic pay, first basic pay, then DA, then HRA. Very difficult to remember, right? So what you can do here, okay, what you can do here is, okay, when I'm calling this, okay, and I'll call this, let's say, in the third case. Gross pay with, it's called positional. Oh, sorry, non-positional. Okay, so what you can do is, okay, you write this. Now PyCharm is suggesting, see, BP, DA, HRA int 10. So BP, first is BP, second is DA, third is HRA, and HRA has a default value of 10. So now I'll say DA equal to DA. Basic pay BP, okay, BP equal to basic pay, and your HRA, okay, you can give or you don't give. HRA equal to HRA. Now in this case, see, I'm giving equal to when I'm calling it. At the time of calling, it need not be in the same order, non-positional, right? Because I'm saying DA equal to DA, so it knows, okay, this DA is not same as this DA. This DA is this one, and this DA is this one, the variable that you're passing, the value that it has. Okay, so this way you don't have to remember the order. You can, if you are using the same variable name, you don't have to pass it in the same order. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is how you will use your third program, writing a function to perform your calculation. So let's put this here. I will share with you later. Now let's look at second problem from your sheet. So it says you have a monthly rent, monthly income of 1100, monthly outgoing is as follows. Calculate the monthly expenses and the remainder what is left after each month. Modify. Okay, so let's copy and do it here. So I'm going back to PyCharm. Going back to P1, I'm putting a comment and putting it here. So you have a monthly income of 1100. Your monthly outgoing as follows: rent, okay, food, electricity, phone, cable TV. Calculate the monthly expense and the remainder what is left, right? Now modify our program by inputting the income as well as values for the expenses. Okay. And B, include a function to check whether you will have savings or you will have to borrow money based on your monthly expenses. Okay. So first one is simple as the previous one. So first one it says, okay, so I'll directly say this is your case one. Case one, it says income equal to 1100. Okay, your expenses are rent, food, cable TV, right? So here rent equal to food equal to electricity equal to phone equal to cable equal to, right? And I'm going to delete this. First says use this program to calculate your total whatever left in your month, right? So expenses equal to food plus electricity plus phone plus cable, right? And you're in what it says, remainder, right? So remainder equal to income minus expenses, right? And now you'll see print your remainder for this month is remainder. Okay, so remainder for this month is remainder, right? Now when you run it, okay, 670. Okay, it has done the calculation and given you 670. This is case one. Now it says case two is input everything from the user, right? Okay, so we will input everything from the user. So here you will say int of input, enter your, okay, and I'm going to copy this and paste it for all of these. Okay, here I'll say income. Here I'll say rent, food expenses, electricity charges, phone expenses, cable TV expenses. Okay, so now when you run this program, this is your case two, right? So in term income, I'll say 5,000. Okay, your rent 4,500. Your food expense 10. Electricity charges 90. Phone expenses 800. Cable TV expenses 600. So you see, your remainder for this month is 3,500, right? Is it correct? Yes, it should be correct, correct? So 3,500 is your expenses for this month. So this is your second part. Okay, modify the program by inputting income as well as values for expenses and calculate monthly expense. So this is your, okay, so monthly expense means you have to add one more part here. Print your monthly, your expenses for this month. Okay, guys, especially right when you are doing these kind of programs, whether it is class assignments or it is participating in a competition, okay, you have to read the program correctly. Okay, even though you might have done all the hard work, but you have not displayed what they want. They said you print the monthly expenses. I did not print the monthly expenses, so I lose points. Okay, I lose marks. So your expenses for this month is, okay, expenses. right? So now I will get full marks because I'm printing whatever they have asked in the question. Okay, great. So you have monthly expenses. Okay. So this is done. Okay, this part is done. A is done. Now B. So again, a function. So you have to write user-defined function. You have to write a function to check whether you will have savings or you have borrow money based on monthly income and total expenses. Function should print an appropriate message for each case. So see, function should print. Understood? So function will perform the calculation and then it will print the appropriate message. Now, it did not say what all things should go into function. So you can ask all the individual values in the main program and pass them to the function, and function will just calculate the expenses, or you can calculate all the expenses and income and pass to the function. So what I'll do, okay, here just to show you, I will only pass here like case 3, correct? So I'll write a function def check check income or check remainder or something. Okay. So here I will only pass income and expenses. So I'm passing 2 parameters, income and expenses, and I'm going to check. Okay. So if, okay, so multiple ways. Okay. So first you calculate remainder. Remainder equal to income minus expenses. Now I'm saying if remainder is less than 0, print. Okay. You need to borrow for this month. You need to borrow. Okay. I can write F string here. You need to borrow. Okay. Remainder. So it's negative, right? So you need to borrow. Income minus expenses. Expenses is more. So you need to borrow. Okay. Rupees. You need to borrow rupees, say 500 for this month. Right? Elif. Okay. Elif, if remainder is greater than 0, then you are in positive. So, right, what is the message? Yeah, check whether so you have a savings of. Okay, so you have a savings of rupees so much for this month. Else, third condition, both are same. Print this month you have no savings. Okay, you neither have savings, you neither have savings or need to borrow any money. Right? This month you neither have savings nor, right? Nor need to borrow any money. Because see, if it is negative, borrow, positive, savings. But they can be equal also, right? So you have to worry about, you need to think about that case also. Now here, I'm going to copy this entire stuff. Okay. And of course, I need to put it here. And after calculation, right, expenses, remainder, we don't have to calculate here, right? We don't. Now, in this case, you see, there you are printing the message in the function itself. So there's no need to return. There's no need to return. I'll simply, after calculating expenses, I'll simply call this check remainder and I will pass income and expense value. Income, comma, expenses. Okay, I'll pass. These things, I will move on to the previous thing. Okay, so that, yeah. Now you see here, now when you run this program P1, it is asking you to write income. So I say 5,000. Your rent is 4,500. Your expenses is, let's say, 100. Your electricity charges is 100. Okay, your phone expenses is 100. Right? TV expenses, I'll make it 200. So see, what happened? Is it wrong? No, I think something is wrong here, right? income minus expenses. Expenses is food, electricity, phone. What is income? Income is this, right? So 5,000 minus 4,500. Something is wrong here. Guys, tell me what is wrong here. Income, I'm saying 5,000. Your rent is 4,500. Oh, I have not added rent, you see. That's why in the previous program also I did not add rent. That's why I was getting different answer, but I didn't realize. Okay. You need to add rent also, isn't it? Rent we are missing. We missed to add rent here. Now it will come correct. Okay. So I say 5,000. Rent is 4,500. Expense, food expenses 100. Charges, electricity charge 100. Phone 100. Cable TV 200. So see, so perfect 5,000. You have neither savings nor to borrow money. So this is how you will write function which will take input and expenses, calculate and tell you whether you have borrowing or whether you need to borrow money this month or you'll have a savings for this month. Okay. So we have done these two programs. Now, if you had shared these programs, we could have done more such programs, right, Satvik?
Yes, sir.
Okay, guys. So we will end it here for today. Okay. And let's see, there are more programs. Try to finish off these programs. Okay. If you want, I'll share this file on the same link. Can I share this in the same link so that others can also practice from this? So guys, for everyone, okay, I'll upload this file so that you can practice. And all of you try to solve these problems. If you have any questions, we'll fix this on Monday, right? You can ask me on Monday. And Monday we'll do one program on loops and then we'll move on to list tuple dictionaries. That's the plan.
Okay, sir.
Okay.